To a lot of people, the London Underground is something which has always been around. It's not a historic piece of British engineering to be celebrated, but instead it's the dreaded commute to work with never-ending delays, cancellations and line closures. But if you look deeper behind all of this, the London Underground is so much more than this. Carrying over 1.3 billion people a year, it's one of the largest transport systems in the world and dates back over 150 years. But if someone was to mention steam trains, most people think of heritage railways such as this one down in Tenterden. But you would never think of a steam train running down into these dark, spaceless tunnels which make up the heart of the London Underground. The history of the London Underground's steam era is one which is being lost very quickly, mainly due to how fast the Underground adapted to electrified vehicles. The adaptation had to happen in order to get people to travel comfortably on the Underground, with local papers describing the network as a dark, harrowing experience which only criminals should have to undertake. And by the 1960s, all of London Underground's steam-powered vehicles had been put out of service and were replaced by electrified vehicles. Recently, heritage steam engines have been placed in popular tourist destinations, such as Robert, the 060 locomotive residing outside Stratford Station. But the majority of these heritage engines didn't run on the London Underground, with Robert actually running on the coal mines in Northampton until it was pulled out of service in the 1960s. In fact, if you look at today's networks, there's very few signs that steam trains once ran on the network at all, after a lot of the history was destroyed. The Metropolitan District line, which is now spread across many lines, including the District, Circle and Piccadilly, was one of the first lines to scrap steam-powered vehicles, with the last steam train running on the line in 1905. From the steam era, there is only one coach surviving, which is coach number 100, which is believed to be built in Ashbury in 1884. The coach is currently residing in Tenterden Carriage Works, where a group of workers and volunteers are hoping to get the coach restored to first-class condition. One of these volunteers is Brian Janes.
The Metropolitan District coach that we have here is the sole survivor of the steam days of the southern part of what is now the Circle line. When these lines were built in the 1860s, they were of course steam operated, and when they were electrified in the Edwardian times, all these coaches and locomotives were sold off or scrapped. It was found in a back garden used as a shed in Dymchurch in Kent. We are not sure how it got there, because most of these coaches were obviously sold off in London, and we suspect that it came from the Lydd Military Railway, but there is absolutely no documentary evidence to prove this. It was found about 30 years ago, partially restored, and indeed it ran on this railway for a brief period, but in a very basic form. It's actually a first-class carriage, and that is what we wish to restore it to.
Some of the restoration has started already, with volunteers leading the project.
When the coach came into the works 6-7 years ago, the hope was that we would be able to get it restored straight away. And the restoration is probably about halfway through. Originally, when the coach was rescued from Dymchurch, there was obviously no underframe, no wheels, anything like that. So the underframe that you see here is from a luggage van that has been altered to fit the body, and that needs some attention, cleaning up and painting. The body itself, as I said earlier, all this side is completely renewed apart from the doors. So far the restoration has been a completely new roof, which entails new ceilings, and new lighting will be going in, and there is one piece of lighting in that compartment there, which we've got as a pattern, if you like, and it will be a much improved version of what was in the thing a few years ago, and also the nice brass grab handle on the side. We've got a full set of those. They've been sponsored by one or two people on the railway. So all that's to be done. We've got a new locks on all the doors, and they have been made to a pattern from years ago, and they are fairly modern safety locks. Our next things to do are to get the bases ready for the seats, and in the compartments there were no luggage racks when the thing was built. I suspect when the coach was turned into a shed that the luggage racks were scrapped, and we've had some new ones made. When it's all done and goes back to first class, it will be something to be proud of.
But the project itself has a strict deadline to make sure that the carriage is fully restored in time for the 150-year anniversary of the opening of the District Line.
Transport for London felt that they had a very successful publicity, and generally felt that they'd done a very good job on celebrating steam on the Metropolitan, 150 years of steam on the Metropolitan. They now wish to celebrate 150 years of the opening of the Metropolitan District line, which was opened in 1868. The anniversary for this is, of course, the year 2018.
The project to get the Metropolitan District Coach 100 fully restored to first-class status is on track, as long as further funding can be secured. Parts of history may have been lost, but it will take a lot to destroy the heritage of this carriage.